Could your state be next? Florida's new social media law explained in this video. When does this new Florida ban on social media go into effect? Can parents opt out of it? Here's what you need to know no matter what state you live in as a parent and what that means for your kids and their freedoms and your freedoms online. Hey everyone, Jonathan Morrow here, where I help you navigate digital parenting, worldview, and culture. If you're finding these videos helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend. That really helps me spread the word. So what do you need to know about this brand new law that Florida has passed banning social media? Florida set to terminate children's social media. Now, first, I want you to pay attention to the words and headlines. And as one thing you want to think about, remember, culture is what you come to see as normal without having to think about it. And so here's the thing. Words matter because they shape perception and reality. And so interesting that this is already from Newsweek being framed as a very negative thing. Florida set to terminate children's social media. Now, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but always pay attention to the headlines because they're going to slant your perspective in a certain way. And so that's a way for you to think critically and honestly help your kids think critically when they see headlines pop up in their social media feed about what's going on in the world today and who's framing the narrative in terms of what that means. So what is this overview of the law that's just passed in Florida by Governor Ron DeSantis? Here's the basic outline and overview of the law. First, the effective date. When does it go into effect? January 1st, 2025. Okay, so that's coming, 2025. New social media law banning social media for kids in Florida goes into effect. What does that mean? Well, first thing is that children under 14 cannot create social media accounts, okay? So you won't be able to do it in that state, and that's a very important indicator of where the tide is going in terms of new legislation nationwide. Second, we also see teens aged 14 and 15 require explicit parental consent to open accounts, okay? So you have to have particular involvement from mom or dad 14 and 15-year-olds before they can get an account. So right out the gate, you've got some new requirements from the state of Florida that will dictate what kids can or cannot do in terms of social media from the beginning. So what are some of these new changes that we're going to see in 2025 when it comes to social media in Florida? And then what might that signal for the rest of the states to follow in 2025? Here's some key limits that will be imposed from the outset because of this law. It will target any app that does infinite scrolling, where you're just sliding and you're just scrolling, doom scrolling, you're just stuck. You got the brain rot going. You've got all the distraction. The algorithm is owning you at that moment, just taking your attention down a mental escalator forever until you snap out of it, right? So it's going to attack apps that do that. It's also going to attack apps that have reaction metrics like likes and shares. We want to protect kids from those kinds of things under the age of 14. This new law will do that. So that way people are not voting on and sharing things that are potentially harmful, bullying, embarrassing, or where kids are conditioned to perform and their identity is shaped by how people react to what they post online. Also targeted are going to be autoplay videos because that just loops and hooks and the dopamine hit and the pleasure chemical and the habit loop, all of that gets going. Anything where live streaming happens, where you have real-time access to content that you can't monitor or anything like that, that's going to be limited, as well as push notifications that will show up on your child's device under the age of 14. Those things will be targeted in this brand new law, limiting kids under the age of 14 to that. And like we already talked about, 14 and 15-year-olds will have to have special permission by a parent before they're able to do this. Okay, so that's something for you to take into account. So what does this look like for you as a parent and your involvement in this process and what's going on with your kids? A couple of things. Parents must provide consent for teens age 14 to 15 to open up accounts. Now that's important because as a mom or a dad, we are constantly modeling in our behavior and we do not want to lie to our kids. So you've got to agree to their age line in regards to this app and whether or not they're going to be able to be on it. And that's important. It also encourages parents to be more actively monitoring their child's online activities. And that's a really good thing because if you have no awareness of what's going on with your child, then you can't protect them or empower them from this screen revolution that they are living through, and their identity, their worldview, their perception of themselves, others, what's good, what's normal, what's true, what's beautiful, what's ugly, all of that is going to be shaped in a way that you're not aware of. So parents need to be involved. Now, there's some very specific legal challenges that are happening in regards to this, and there's some very specific things that are affecting parents, as well as what does this mean for coming to you and what state you live in, and this new kind of legislation. But before we get to that, I want to highlight a few things as resources for you. Follow me on Instagram at @refreshparenting, and you can get tips and be able to have encouragement and ways to have reminders of little things, little nudges to help you do what matters. What I want to do is I want to give you a guilt-free approach to digital parenting. I want to make that simple. So follow along. I've also created a brand new refresh course for parents online with 4+ hours of videos and helps and questions and checklists and walkthroughs. More content being added there. Go to refreshcourse.net and you can find out more about that. Refresh is a practical online course that helps busy moms and dads confidently navigate smartphones, social media, and screen time. So we could all use some help, some encouragement in that, and that's something available to you as well. So be sure to take advantage of that and follow along at Refresh Parenting, as well as like and subscribe to this video if you haven't already, and share that with a friend. Here's the bottom line. If you don't have a plan, then you're not going to be able to help your kids walk through the challenges that they're facing being raised in a screen generation. And I'm here to help. So at Refresh Parenting on Instagram, like and subscribe to the videos here, share them with a friend, and check out the Refresh online course for parents. It'll really walk you through step by step everything you need to know, and we can do this journey together. All right, so what about the legal implications of what's going on with this new bill in Florida? First, there have been lawsuits that have been filed challenging the law's constitutionality. All right, so that's important for you to know. So it may or may not stand. That's going to be challenged in court because First Amendment freedoms are being involved and different questions of legality of certain things. Second, trade associations like NetChoice and CCIA are involved in the litigation. So they're attacking this bill for various legal reasons. So we'll see how that goes. And also, you need to know Governor Ron DeSantis supports the law as a protective measure for kids. And remember, it's for kids under the age of 14. It's not banning this for a 16-year-old or anything else like that. This is for kids 14 and under who we know from all the isolation, loneliness, anxiety, depression, self-harm, gender confusion, all of the things that are going on in this generation, we need to protect them from. And so that's the motivation behind it. So those are some of the legal challenges that you need to be aware of. Here are some of the implications for parents. You need to review and manage your child's social media accounts, to make sure that they are in step with what's going on with your values and with your faith and with wisdom and things that protect them online. You also need to discuss the risks and reasons behind the law with your children. I think that's important, especially if you live in the state of Florida. This provides you as a parent an opportunity to narrate why laws are being made in regards to this, to protect kids from anxiety and comparison, depression, mental health questions, emotional health questions, bullying, all of those insecurities that we all have navigating as we grow up through childhood. There's a reason. And look, sometimes people say, well, you shouldn't legislate morality. Here's the thing. Every law legislates morality. It just depends on whose morality will be legislated. So that's an important conversation you can have. And then lastly, you can stay informed about legal updates and challenges to this law, because this is the first among many of these laws that have been passed that are now going to be coming to a state near you, starting in Florida, and maybe your state very, very soon. And so that's something that maybe you want to support, maybe you want to spread the word about, or you want to be prepared for as you are parenting in this generation. But here's the bottom line. As a mom or a dad, we just have to be more involved with our kids in their online activity. And there's a lot of things in our culture that are moving so fast, it's really hard to keep up with. So whenever the law provides an appropriate guardrail, and again, maybe this law isn't perfect, but it's a step in the right direction, in my opinion, for kids under the age of 14 to limit their access to something that we know from all the sociological research is harmful and damaging to them. So be sure to think through these things as a mom or a dad, because this stuff is really affecting your kids. All right. So at the end of the day, here's what you need to know about what's going on. First, Florida's new law restricts social media access for children under 16. It bans it for children under 14. No accounts are allowed. Ages 14 to 15, parental consent is required. It targets platforms with infinite scrolling, likes, autoplay features, live streaming, and more. It's going to encourage active parental involvement and monitoring, at least having some conversations rather than just handing our kids a device and hoping that it goes well for them. Legal challenges may affect implementation, and so you're going to want to stay informed in this, not only for the state of Florida, if that's where you live. I know a lot of people who follow this channel are in Florida, but also other states nationwide in the United States. This is likely coming to a state near you. So the bottom line is this. We can't do everything when it comes to screens, but we can do something. And so what are you going to do so that you do what matters? And we'll see you in the next video.